Eleven is dead, Will is still gay, and it looks like so is Nancy. Mike becomes Stephen King, Dustin works for NASA, Lucas and Max open a record store, Lucas eventually joins the Army Reserve so he can become a sniper, and Max still doesn't understand how Hopper is alive. Joyce and Hopper retire to Montauk, where neither of them can quit smoking. Steve takes his baseball team to the championship, so eventually becomes a college coach. Robin continues to annoy everyone. Jonathan becomes a failed filmmaker and then becomes a wedding videography. Nothing wrong with that. Erica runs for Congress and wins. Karen divorces Ted and finds a younger man resembling, well, Billy. Stranger Things is done. So here with me to talk about Season 5 of Stranger Things is Ben and Joanne. Hey, guys.
Hey, cheers.
Thanks for being here. Thank
you.
Initial reactions of the season.
My very first reaction was, I like how inclusive the show is. I've never seen so many middle-aged people and geriatric people play teenagers and college kids. The sound mix is so good, you barely hear the hips cracking, and like they're running and flying through the air. So all in all, I give it 3 out of 5 Betty Whites.
They're so old, they have to add prosthetic makeup to make the actual adults look older.
So yeah, my initial thought, when I was watching the first few episodes, it was just like, it was a lot of action and kind of like a lot of the same things going on. Like I think it could have been shorter. Like each episode was really long, and I knew that going in. And so I kind of was like wanting it to speed up a little bit. And it was just like I said, a lot of action. But fortunately, I was already attached to the characters. So that's what made me stick with it. And when I got to the finale, I enjoyed the finale overall. I think it was good, and I'm sure we'll get more into it in detail. But that was my initial reaction.
I've had the most time to think about this because I've now watched the entire thing twice. So I watched it as it came out, the night it came out, and then I rewatched the entire thing in its entirety. Here's the thing for me. So what was the foundation of Stranger Things storytelling in the series? You had adventure, romance, childhood wonderment, mystery, fear of the unknown, and of course, obviously, nostalgia. Most of those elements are gone in this season. Clearly, the kids are getting older, so telling a kid wonderment story of kids as teenagers changes, but you grow with it and things like that. My problem with this final season had a lot to do with what both of you said, Joanne specifically, why are you in such a rush? The biggest problem is they waited 3.5 years after leaving it on a cliffhanger that should have been what happens the next day. When you go 18 months into the future, it's a fucking cop-out. It doesn't explain anything about what happened that day. Argyle was stuck there. Where'd he go during the quarantine? What happened to how many people died during that explosion? Like, they're so fast and furious to get to this action. And the problem with this one is it's all storytelling and no story. Everything is already set in motion. They try to introduce a mystery with this Mr. What's-It thing. It's a fucking waste of time because we already know who it is, I didn't like this season. I was entertained a lot. I was very happy to be watching it while it was on. There's moments that I thought were genuine and wonderful because these characters and these actors fucking rule. But aside from a couple of moments from a couple of episodes, this season's right there with 3 for me. Is like just, not that great. Without getting too involved too quickly in the end, I think the first hour of the final episode makes almost the entire series pointless. When you build something up, you have to. It's the problem with Lost. The show Lost. It's like building and building and building. It's like a Jenga. It keeps building, but it's never going to go anywhere because it's going to fall before it finishes. What did we think about the 3-volume structure?
I don't really feel like there's a point, much of a point in having the 3-volume structure, with the exception of just like keeping people wanting more.
It's the water cooler effect.
Yeah.
If you release it all at once, people binge it in a week and then it's gone. If you release it in elements, then people are still talking about it. They're anticipating it. And you can continue to advertise and promote it, which makes you more money. And they were never going to do a weekly model. I don't think this show works that well as a weekly model, so I'm glad they don't do that.
I'll tell you this. When I heard about that, I was not happy. I'm one of those people who I want to be able to binge or at a minimum just watch when I want to watch. So incidentally though, I didn't end up watching it until like I did it all over like a week and a half maybe, so like I finished the last episode just 2 days ago.
That's why I think it's still in the zeitgeist, is because a lot of people were waiting for it to finish to even start,
But that being said, I wonder if they had planned for most people not to binge it, because some of the worst of the writing just becomes, even like when you're seeing it over and over again from scene to scene in an episode, and then the episode to episode and episode within like a few hours, like it makes it so much harder to watch. Yeah, I guess if anything, I kind of wish I had watched it like it was intended to be watched initially, because it's a bit. Binging it, there's a reason I took a week and a half, and I didn't do it all in 3 days.
Well, I was the one that watched it on the nights that it came out. I didn't even wait till the second. I watched all 4 episodes on Thanksgiving, and then I watched the next 3 right when they came out at the minute they dropped on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day, and then I was all by myself on New Year's. So I immediately watched the finale the minute it dropped on New Year's Eve. It was way better watching it in those volumes because just like Ben said, the cracks like stick out like a sore thumb when you binge it from first episode to finale. It is there, man, and it gives you more time. I mean, I've watched it twice. That's probably why I'm gonna have more nitpicks than you guys, because there's just so many things that don't make sense or that don't conclude, or that are just left behind or forgotten about. And I don't give a fuck what the showrunners come out and say after the show is done. None of that stuff matters. If it ain't in the show, it's not canon. Just like, well, it happened off screen.
Oh, that's lame.
It's a fucking cop-out. And if you're someone that's making hundreds of millions of dollars on this contract to show run one of the biggest shows probably in the past 25 years, you should never say it happened off screen. That is fucking bullshit.
We need to talk about how Netflix and other streaming services are shooting and editing their shows so you can be on your phone. This whole season reeks of the shit. I never seen it until I watched the season, and it's like insulting as a fan who's seen all the show and who's not an idiot. Agree. Dude, I'm just gonna go with it. You'll watch a scene, right? And you'll watch the scene, you'll hear the dialogue, you'll see the action, you'll understand what's happening. And then the very next scene, one of those characters just tells another character what you just saw. And it's horrible. And it happens so much. At one point, it was too ridiculous for me, where it was like somebody, Joyce was not even there. And then off camera, I think Joyce got told what happened, and then she tells it to a fucking 4th character. It's ridiculous, dude. There was a scene, Hopper says at one point that we don't have time to get into that exposition. Then they went into like a different exposition. You know what I mean? It was like it was almost like they knew what they've been doing. But what I was going to say is, if they didn't have to do that, if they didn't do that, then all these things that happened off camera would have happened on camera. And I think it was some very poor filmmaking. I get why they did it, but it's some bad filmmaking, dude.
You know the joke about how twins will either finish each other's sentences or say the last 2 or 3 words at the same time of a sentence?
Balls deeper. Jinx buy me a Coke. Oh, snap, man, we're still saying the same thing. This is amazing. Carrots, pumpernickels, glow sticks, twins.
How many fucking times does that happen in this season where hive mind, all of them yell hive mind at the same time? Vecna, like, it's so, every single fucking episode, the whole cast has to get into a room and bring us up to speed on what we just watched. We know. We just saw it with our eyes and we heard it with our ears.
They call this type of bridge a
wormhole. Any particular reason?
A realm of pure chaos and evil.
I'm sorry?
D&D.
But it's insufferable this season. Like, I mean, I'm going to say this 100 times. It's that final season where the writers ran out of ideas. They had this epic, really cool finale in season 4. Season 4's ending was way cooler than this one. Fucking way cooler. Cooler fight between Elle and Vecna. The amount of times they say, we have to kill Vecna in this season.
We have to stop Vecna. We don't have much time.
Free Holly and the kids and kill Vecna all before our worlds merge.
Sisters kill their brother.
Not until I'm sure he's dead.
That's the goal. There's no plot this season. That's all you're trying to do.
Max running through that weird red area of Vecna's mind towards a portal. She hears Kate Bush playing, right? It feels like warmed over leftovers from last season. Because that scene in season 4 was amazing. One of the coolest things I've ever seen in a show. And then they just kind of like, they half-assed do it again. But even then, they should have non-assed it at all. They should have tried to do it again at all. You know, I get that they have to use a song, but it's just too similar to before.
Dear Billy and the emotion going on with Max and that song, it had so much weight to it, and it was so done. It was done so well on a production standpoint. Them doing that this season, my eyes could not roll back further into my head that they did the exact same thing, except this time, even Sadie Sink, the actress, said, yeah, they had me running on a treadmill and I wasn't running very fast, so it doesn't look as good as it did where she was actually running on a soundstage during season 4. He goes, are you sick of that Kate Bush song? And she goes, no, are you? To Lucas, and he goes, yeah. He's speaking for the audience. So are we.
I think I like to see the maturity of the characters, like when Nancy's two guys are talking. When they're talking about Nancy, and they're talking about how they used to hate each other, and then now they don't. They understand, and they accept that it's better to have Nancy as at least a friend, because she's so special. And it's great to have someone like that in your life, whether or not it's a romantic relationship. I think that was a very mature scene. I really liked to see that in those two characters. That was really awesome. A lot of other maturity obviously shown. I couldn't believe when I was reading something and it said something about a decade. I'm like, wait, what do you mean a decade? And I looked it up, and season 1 was July of 2016. I'm like, oh my gosh, this has been almost 10 years.
Crazy, right?
I can't believe it. I felt like it was like 5 years.
Dude, Dustin didn't even have teeth.
What good of friends that they wanted to remain, and they made an effort to remain. Like in that scene on the rooftop towards the end, and they're agreeing to meet up once a month or whatnot. I really appreciate things like that. I like keeping friends, even if they're not physically close to you at the moment. Just making that effort to recognize the special people in your life and keep them in your life.
Everything with Steve, everything with Dustin is great. My favorite stuff, except for one scene with Steve. Stupid fake out death with a commercial break going to black. Fuck that.
It certainly is a big bun.
It's a very big bun.
Big fluffy bun.
It's a very big fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
That's what she said.
I love Lucas as a character. Max and Lucas, to me, are the only couple out of the kids that ever had any chemistry and just felt naturally in love the way they fell in love on the show. It was never forced. It wasn't a plot thing. It just kind of happened. I loved it.
You're super smart. And you're like totally tubular. I like talking with you, Mad Max.
I like talking with you, Stalker.
Lucas is one of my favorite characters. People are like, oh, Lucas never has anything to do. Watch season 4. He's kind of like the second or third lead in season 4. I'm a huge fan of Karen Wheeler. I think it was cool that she got a moment the first time against the Demogorgon, even if that doesn't really make any sense. The second time they use her for a hero moment, I was about to throw up because it makes no sense. But I love Karen Wheeler. She's a fucking MILF. I've been watching. That actress was on Mad Men. She's been in movies. Like she's really hot. I even like Holly. Like I wouldn't have had a big problem with Holly if we knew this was coming. And she was kind of aging a little bit more with the other characters. She kind of aged like 5 years in what was supposed to be 18 months. Because last time you see her in season 4, she's like shitting her pants. You know, she's like a little kid.
Yeah. So you didn't like Mike and 11? You didn't feel
no. The two actors have no chemistry. She looks, especially in this final season, because they wouldn't, and we'll get into it. They wouldn't allow anybody. They had an intimacy coordinator on set where Millie Bobby Brown didn't want to be touched. So you can see it. Like they don't let anybody kiss until the very end with Mike and Elle.
Yeah.
When they're hugging, his hands are fucking straight out like duckbills, dude.
I need you to talk to the others.
I think season 1 was great. I loved Elle and Mike because it was organic. After that, season 3, when they're just super horny that whole season, they're just kissing nonstop, and then all of a sudden they're just kind of over in season 4. And in this season, they have like 2 or 3 scenes total together, and they have no chemistry left at all. Where when Max wakes up and sees Lucas, it was fucking great. Like Sadie Sink is crushing in that episode to see his face, and she's laughing and crying at the same time. And the dialogue exchange and the reverse shot with her and Caleb McLaughlin, Caleb McLaughlin is Lucas. I didn't like Vecna's look. Everybody seemed to think it looked cooler. I love that he was kind of doughy and pot-bellied. He was way more slimy and sinister and sleazy in season 4. He kind of, they modeled him after Freddy Krueger, and that's kind of the vibe he gave in that one. In this one, he looks like a tree. He looks like Groot.
I'm Groot.
Potbelly Vecna just got his rocks off by torturing teenagers, breaking their bones, mentally destroying them. I miss the Vecna that was literally, like I said, like Freddy Krueger. He laughed, like he loved the pain that he was putting you through. And that's what made season 4 so different from all the other seasons. It's like he was fucking scary in that season, you know?
Did they also redesign the Mind Flayer, or have we never seen a clear image of it?
The final boss looked like a fucking crab.
Yeah, it did get spider-like.
But anyways, like, he's the Mind Flayer. It's his goddamn name. Like, he shredded like Billy's mind. You know what I mean? And made him his puppet. And then he just ends up being a big CGI spider that wants to crush everything. Like, I thought this giant demon was going to have a psychic battle with Elle, and that's not really what happened.
And it's the upside down. What the fuck is it now? Like, season 1, you couldn't breathe the atmosphere. It was so fucking dangerous that Brenner is talking about sending people in that never come back. Season 2, you don't see it that much. Season 3, you don't see it at all. Season 4, you see it a lot, and it's fucking dangerous with the bats and all the crazy shit. This season, they're putting a fucking Pizza Hut in the fucking thing. You know? A Demogorgon can open a gate just as wherever he wants to jump through at any time. Oh, a water tower. I got to run away from Steve and Dustin in the car. Here's a gate. Oh, the guys, they're attacking me in Derek's house. Oh, I'm just going to go through the wall. Here's a gate. Remember when a gate had to be created by Vecna killing somebody, or there was only the gate in the lab? Nancy in this season, she's just insufferable. Like, where's this nice person who's also good with weapons and also good in combat and not scared? She's just a bitch this season to everybody she talks to. The last person anyone should ever be mean to is Murray, because all he's doing is what you ask him to do. That's his only function in this season. Get me this, get me that, drive the truck, do this. Just against her character that you love. Season 1, season 2, and season 4, where she gets kind of that connection back with Steve a little bit. Like, she's just like a great character, and then she's just nothing but stone face. Season 2 had an infamous episode that a lot of people didn't like. I rewatched it recently, and it's really boring, but I kind of understand why it's there. and it's the X-Men scene that introduced Kali, who comes back into this season as number 8. And I got to tell you, I didn't know that was the same actress, because if you look at her in season 2, she looks about 30 and she has long hair.
Yeah.
And in this season, she's about 4'1" with a bald head, and she looks 10 years old. So I did not realize it was the same character.
I don't know how, but I recognized her right away.
Holy shit. Some eye makeup and that long hair changed. Man, you shave her head and she looks 10 years old.
Yeah.
There's scenes where she's standing next to Hopper and her head is at his belt buckle. It's insane. I don't know if the character was hated more than the episode was hated. I didn't mind the character because it was cool to give Elle kind of a link to, someone else exists from Brenner's, experiments. I was actually, when she showed up, I was like, oh, let's go. Let's do this. Let's make something of this, because it kind of was left left on the floor for so long.
Well, let me say, regarding that season 2 episode, I thought it was kind of slow and boring. I didn't really have a problem with it otherwise. I thought these characters brought some potential for some things maybe down the line. All that is, thrown out the window. I mean, she literally says how she was taken and all of her friends are gone or dead. I don't even know what the fuck she said about her friends. I mean, I get that they did a reveal of her, which it was kind of fun and interesting.
I didn't know who it was when they revealed her. I didn't know who that was. She's a pretty girl. She's a good actress. The character was just worthless. Fucking worthless. They brought her back to stand in the background and listen to, as we've said a million times, people talk about their plans, and it's like, has anyone introduced her to the group? Oh, I guess that happened off screen.
I mean, like, honestly, there's fucking Henry. There's Linda Hamilton. There's the papers that, like, Dustin finds. There are other ways to figure out that this doesn't end unless 11 dies or disappears, right? But they sent Callie. That could have been great. I don't think they did it right. And then she, uses her powers sometimes. That's it, man. She wouldn't even stay in the room for Will coming out of the closet. I thought that was, I don't know. I thought it was so weird. She's the only, it's her. No, Molly Ringwald stayed in the room. She doesn't even know Will.
What the fuck is this?
Maybe what they're going to do with her is her and Will and Elle are going to be the ones that kind of work together. 3 different types of powers to kind of take down Vecna, and that didn't happen. Her, Hopper, and Elle are in Hawkins' lab in the Upside Down. They had to put 11 in the tank, the submersion tank in the Upside Down, which also makes no sense because they say in season 1 and season 2, water doesn't exist in the Upside Down.
Right.
The pools are empty, the lakes are empty, but yet here's this big vat of water.
And then they tricked Hopper into thinking that, Elle was shot, and so he takes her out. But
that was one of the coolest scenes for me, because it was Hopper has no idea what Vecna looks like or sounds like, so it was cool to see him finally, like, sort of. I would have liked to have seen Hopper actually physically go up against Vecna, and I mean, he would have just died. But that was a cool scene. I liked that. Yeah. That Vecna used his trauma from Vietnam with the chemical tanks, and then obviously for the 8 millionth time showing his daughter with leukemia dying. Thinking he shot 11 was really cool because they show her like fucking dead with dead eyes, like in the tank.
One of the questions I was going to ask you guys is like, what do you think, is 11 really dead or not? Because
she's dead. She's dead to me.
I think it's up to interpretation. I think it's left open.
Because Callie's dead. Because Callie couldn't have survived the blast from the exotic matter. So there's nobody there that could have projected her image. Dude, I love 11 as a character. This season, they gave her nothing to do. That's not Millie Bobby Brown's fault. I think she's fucking great. She's a really strong actress with a lot of range, a lot of emotions. But they gave her nothing to do in this season but run around in a wetsuit.
Dude, there's
two outfits the whole season.
Yeah, the whole season. God, those must have stunk.
The first outfit was terrible, but I heard.
You know how bad you sweat in a wetsuit when you're not in the water?
That first outfit, though, I heard it was a tribute to something, but I don't remember what it was. Do you know?
It was a tribute to
Dr. Wuss.
Josh Brolin and
Josh Brolin and Goonies. And she's wearing that, like, the sweatpants with the gym shorts, and it's like, we get it. They're in the 80s. Jesus Christ. Give her something else to wear.
Yeah. The 80s weren't that bad of clothing. That was a terrible outfit.
Character interaction nitpicks I have, and this is a huge one for me. So Max, she's been in a coma for a year and a half. A year prior to that, in season 3, Hopper dies. Then he's still dead in season 4, as far as everyone in Hawkins knows, and everyone in California. Only people that know he's alive is Murray and Joyce. End of season 4, she goes into a coma. Another 18 months go by. So now we're talking 3 years. Max has not seen or heard from Hopper. Last thing she knew, he was dead. Her reawakening scene where Joyce and Eleven and Hopper walk into the room, they just look at each other and he goes, "Hey, kid." And she winks back. It's like, aren't you dead? Like, there's nothing there. Like, and you could say, who cares? That's a dumb detail. No, it's not. He died in her eye. He should be dead. Does she not even ask? Oh, wait, she asked off camera. My bad.
It seems like the writers kind of just forgot some of the stuff they wrote, which is nuts to me.
You
but
think?
There's people there's people whose entire job is just to make sure the continuity works, So
that's what they call a writer's room. Every character has a writer for their character, and the actors know who those writers are. And sometimes, if you have the power, you as the actor can work with your writer and kind of develop your character, offer suggestions. Joe Keery did it a lot with Steve Harrington, which made him such a great fucking character. Is he added input in the writer's room, like, hey, how about we don't kill Steve Harrington in episode 4? How about we give him a redemption at the end, and the next thing you know, he's everyone's favorite character 5 years later. I don't know, if I was Sadie Sink or if I was David Harbour, I would have been like, hey, that scene where Max wakes up and then she sees Hopper? How about saying oh, I thought you were dead. Oh, it's a long story, kid. Boom, done. But nothing. It's just like, hey, Hopper. It's just, it takes you out. It takes you out because you can feel that they forgot about it or just didn't care. And that pisses me off. How about just a little bit of effort when it comes to character writing?
I kind of wanted Nancy to end up with one of the guys, to be honest. I felt like she had chemistry. I think it was the episode prior to the finale, either that one or the one before that. There with the unengagement and everything. I thought that was fantastic, and so I wanted her to end up with him. So I was kind of sad that didn't happen.
I was definitely team Steve on that one. I just feel she had way more chemistry, and in season 4 they were really building back up that relationship.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I am so fucking over that love triangle. When they did it again, I'm like, guys, didn't we do this? I mean, you're right about the unengagement scene.
Hawkins, Nancy.
Yeah, really, man. But you're right, that unengagement scene, that was a great scene. They did this love triangle already. I'm over it. I really didn't even feel Steve at any point. Did I really feel Steve was really pursuing Nancy again? He
wasn't.
Yeah, it never came across.
Me worrying about my good friend, my friend.
Really, it just came down to Jonathan being a paranoid asshole. Great, they're not getting married. It sounds like it's for the best for everybody,
They completely ruined Jonathan after season 2, and then season 4 they turn him into just a stoner who has nothing to do the entire season.
Yeah.
He's one of the best characters in season 1. I mean, he's one of the main characters. Him. I kind of admire that unengagement scene too. Even though I had to rewatch it twice. I'm not talking about the whole episode. I rewound it because I didn't understand. I was like, did they break up or did they just decide not to get married? And I had to rewatch it again. And then I found out I wasn't alone on Twitter. Everyone was like, what the fuck just happened?
I think it was the last quarter of it where I was like, oh, they're breaking up. I honestly, I was like, oh, they're not getting married. They are getting married? What is going on?
But then he goes, I love you, Nancy Wheeler. I love you, Jonathan Byers. And you're like, okay, they haven't kissed all season anyway, so they're not kissing now because no one's allowed to kiss anymore on this show.
What the fuck?
Delightful or dipshit Derek, suck my fat one. Really fun character, and they didn't overuse him. He disappeared for long stretches, but when he came in, he was really funny. Holly, way overused. You could have had her captured by Vecna and given 2 or 3 scenes total of her in his mind to explain what you needed to explain, instead of constantly going back to that cave and to that world. It drove me fucking nuts. Like her talking with pirate fucking Max in those weird Lost Boys clothes. I love that moment with her and Mike in episode 1, where Mike's being a big brother, and he's like, I'm Mike the whatever, and he's giving her that little D&D character, and all that stuff's great. The kids and that storyline, it's so much. I want to see the 4 boys. I want to see Joyce have something to fucking do. Hopper, I don't care, because he's had a lot to do already. If he's just going to be a supporting guy, I'm totally fine with that. I want the 4 boys. 11 and Joyce to really be integral to everything, and they just didn't have the screen time, and you don't get a lot. The Duffer brothers were constantly going, man, we split up the crew for so many seasons. Now you're going to get them all together. They were never together in this season. They're always off doing different shit. Dustin's always off with Steve, and when Max comes back, she hardly interacts with anybody in the group. She doesn't have reunions. Like she says, how come her and Elle don't hug? Like they were like best friends in season 3, and they haven't seen each other since. She doesn't. There's no scene with her and Dustin. They don't, like, her and Dustin are good friends. Steve was her big brother in season 2 and season 4. He saved her life 2 times, and they never give them a moment to even say hi. How about like a hey you? Nothing. Like they never interact with each other, and that's the problem you get into with so many characters.
Coming out of a coma is less important than coming out of a closet. You got to decide which gets the screen time, man, and that's how they chose to go.
This is your final season. Nothing, like no any. And then when Elle dies or fucks off to Ireland, like you guys seem to think she did, you never get a Max conversation with Elle. They never catch up. Hey, thanks for saving me in Vecna's mind at the snowball. That was crazy, right? Nothing.
Something I liked about the show in the past is when they introduce a new character, usually they're pretty interesting, and they kind of become a fan favorite. And sometimes they kill them. R.I.P. Eddie, I miss you. But regardless, they're fun for the one season they're in. Well, Derek, I like Derek, right? But then you do have to give time to Derek, and then Will's whole coming out thing was just done terribly, right?
That scene made my skin crawl. It was
done
bad.
very ham-fistedly.
Yeah.
I don't like girls.
Why are you gay?
But Joyce just seems kooky. That's her character now, is just kooky.
She did get to drop the one F-bomb of the series, which was nice.
You fucked with the wrong family. Don't fuck with the babysitter.
I didn't like Holly very much. I mean, really, I think if she just had a smaller part, it would have been better. I'll admit that's a nice moment at the end of the finale with them all going down to play D&D. Mike, I'm glad you enjoyed the season, dude, but I really feel like Mike is like a reverse Bechdel test, because all he does is talk about Elle and getting to Elle and Elle's needs. Within the context of the story, I get it, but really, dude, for real though, until the finale, essentially, where him and Elle say goodbye, that's the most. I just felt like his character had anything to do, and the most interesting he was for the entire season.
This is probably my favorite Will. Forget about the coming out scene, but episode 4 of Will getting his powers. That was fucking kind of rad. Because when I watched it, I knew I had to wait a month to find out what was going to happen next, and that was the cliffhanger of episode 4. I was fucking pumped. I was like, Will, fuck yeah, they did it. I wasn't sure they had the fucking stones to and I do actually really think it was clever the way they gave him his powers, where he didn't have powers. He just was connected so hard from being the first one, that went into the Upside Down and got the dick down his throat, you know, and then having it down there for so long, you know, just but again, they didn't do anything with it after that though.
Yeah,
that scene was fucking legit, where he's just killing those Demigorgons,
Breaking bones.
That push-in shot to Will. You're like, dude, even the actor put on some beef. You can see it in the shoulders. You know, he doesn't look like fucking Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber like he did in season 4. You know.
Oh yeah.
So I was really pumped to see what they were going to do with that, and they really didn't do much with it. They just made Will comatose again the next episode. You know. But that scene in isolation was awesome in episode 4.
I think what it should have been is Callie and Elle, thank you, take on the Mind Flayer together.
Yeah.
Who has psychic powers, while Will is using Demigorgons just to try to slow down Vecna. I also think they should have killed a goddamn real main character. Like, maybe it could have been Will there. I mean, you say Elle. Yeah, Elle died. I don't think Elle died. Like, I think there should have been a definitive character that lost their life, but they left it open to interpretation. So, you know.
Kali's powers would have been such a force against Vecna because he's a master of illusion. Yeah. And man, if her and Elle were working together, like Will's outside fucking with the Demigorgons, which aren't even in this finale for some reason. But if her and Callie were, you know, Callie was making Vecna think Elle was somewhere else, and then there's so many cool things. The ending was so lazy. 8 minutes, and the huge big baddies of this entire series are dead with slingshots, water balloons, and fucking Molotov cocktails. Dimension X, or what they called in the show, the Abyss, was horribly rendered, really uninspiring. Just a stupid orange filter, sunlight filter. Editors have used it a million times. You can make anything look like that really simple. It was clearly a soundstage. Everybody looked like they weren't there because they weren't. No Demigorgons, no bats. It's supposed to be the homeworld of the Demigorgons. Where'd they go? The tree that we all knew was going to become something else ends up being, I guess, the Mind Flayer in its full crab form, which looks like what Kevin Smith described those guys told him to make when he was going to write a Superman script.
I had that exact thought, Ben. That exact thought.
1, I don't want to see him in that suit. 2, I don't want to see him fly. And 3, he's got to fight a giant spider in the 3rd act. And I'm like, let's go back to 1.
When the Mind Flayer comes back and he's going after the kids, I just thought about Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
You know?
Same producer, Wild Wild West guy.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. They finished things off so fast. And people have already said this, so we're not breaking any new ground here. When the kids come up with the plan to go up on the cliffs and flank them, how the fuck did they get to the top of those cliffs in about 2.5 minutes? And when Nancy runs out of ammo and she grabs her 12 gauge pump action, those have a range of about 20 feet before they turn into BBs. She's shooting that fucking thing from 80 to 100 yards away, and it's just like putting holes in it. That's not how guns work. And that's been a thing with Nancy this whole time. Putting the tracker in a 12 gauge shotgun, that does not work. It's physics.
Yeah.
The finale is a joke. Like, season 4, you feel like people could die and probably will. And they, honestly, as much as I love Sadie Sink, and I'm glad she got her happy ending as Max with Lucas, she should have died in season 4. It would have given it so much weight. Like, holy shit. You know, like, Max got her bones cracked by Vecna. Lucas is out for blood. Like, I mean, they copped out so hard by like having her in this coma. But the biggest cop out of people in a coma was, why did you just not kill Ted Wheeler? Nobody even asked about him after he got his stomach ripped open by a demigorgon. Why not just kill him? I thought this show was going balls out in that scene. I was like, wow, they're killing at least one of the Wheeler parents. And they didn't kill either one. And then he's never mentioned again or seen again until he shows up at the graduation. Why not just kill him? Because I don't even think the kids would care that much. You know, like,
you know, we're talking about like some of the finale being a little bit rushed and things. I think like they were trying to wrap everything up for as many characters as possible. They did kill some characters, you know, throughout the seasons.
Remember, these are one and done characters, not core characters. They're characters created and written for one season to have something to do with the plot and die at the end. Like Bob Newby, the great Sean Astin, one of my favorite all-time Stranger Things characters, created to die.
Did I ever tell you about Mr. Baldo? Hey, kiddo, would you like a balloon? You're gonna die, clown!
Too many characters, and then they tried to wrap them up in a bow, you know, at the end, and so some of it felt a bit rushed.
I knew they were never going to kill off Dustin or Lucas or Mike or Will. I knew that. I mean, if you thought they were going to do that, you know, and even Steve, he was such a fan favorite. Like,
yeah,
this bloodlust that these fans have, or like they need to kill off people. It's like you don't have to.
But you believe firmly that Elle died. I mean, that is a core character. That is the star of the whole show.
It's not like I want her to be dead. I just feel it's more. I feel it's more poetic that she sacrificed herself, because I personally thought, basically from the beginning of season 4, when Vecna was introduced, and it did seem like this connection had to be something where they both have to, kind of like Voldemort and Harry. You know, they kind of both have to die. One can't die without the other. You know, Harry finds a loophole and stuff like that, but I always assumed that was the route they were going. Did I want that? No. Like, I love Elle.
Right.
I would have loved to seen her like go to school and, you know, finally be accepted and become a regular person as she was becoming. But I was like, if they want to inject this tragedy to the story, at least that's been built up forever. Because Hopper says this great thing about, you've been tortured, you've been manipulated, you've been like abused, your whole childhood's taken from you. Right there, I'm like, okay, well, now if they do kill her off, it's that Greek tragedy. I get it. I get why they would do it, and I get what it would do to Mike. And I appreciate the fact that they left it open-ended, because it makes it almost sadder, because if it's not true, then Mike made it up and it's the way he copes, you know, and that's really sad. We'll never know, but to me, like, I choose to believe she did sacrifice herself, because her life was hard, and she didn't, her last words to Hopper was like, I'm not Sarah and I'm not your kid. I'm not I don't think she quite loved Hopper as much as he loved her, and I think that was because he was clinging to this idea of having another Sarah. I'm not saying she didn't love Hopper, but I'm just saying, like, we were robbed of a lot of the backstory. But to be honest with you, season 4 did a great job of Henry's backstory. They just decided to retcon it. He was just a creepy fucking kid who had powers, and he killed his parents, and then they got the little suppression stone jabbed into his neck, so they were able to experiment on him because he was in a coma. Fuck, that's all I needed. I didn't need him to find a fucking rock in a fucking cave, like all that bullshit, you know?
Right.
It just adds more to a season 5 that's already bloated to begin with, you know? They kill him way too fast. They kill Vecna way too fast. Joyce says fuck, which is cool.
Fuck, motherfuck.
And then I really enjoyed the epilogue, though I feel when 11 dies, it shouldn't have faded to black and said 18 months later. We should have seen all the repercussions of everything that happened that night. Where'd the military go? I want to see each and every one of those main characters mourning Elle, because they never do. Because it jumps to 18 months, aside from Mike and Hopper, we don't see anybody feeling sad about Elle until the D&D thing at the end. I want to see Steve crying, Robin crying. I want to see the next day where the fallout happens. But other than that, the epilogue was beautiful. It was my favorite part of the entire season. that final hour. I love the graduation. I love Dustin fucking giving it up for Eddie at the graduation.
Yeah.
The D&D game. I really like what they do with the 4 main older teens on the rooftop. It felt very Breakfast Clubbish, which I liked. Very John Hughes. And I love that Joyce and Hopper get their happy ending. I fucking love it. Even though he gets a job offer to be a chief of police. I guess in Montauk, they're looking for a chief of police who has a record of drinking on the job and long unexplained absences. I love Mr. Clark, and I love they gave him so much to do this season because he was a pioneer from season 1, man. Mr. Clark, he was the AV Club guy, you know? That's what I wanted from this show to wrap up, was just the characters that I love.
I agree with you, Ben, that I liked the finale, as in like the last 20 minutes of that final episode. An epilogue, but we also get glimpses of what I think the future is for these characters, which is why I think Elle's alive. But regardless, whether you believe it or not, it hits you in the feels, and you really, because like the no matter what problem this show ever has, you like the characters and you care about the characters, right? And you feel really good about where each of these characters end up at the end of the show, except for Elle, who maybe's dead. But you know, what are you going to do? I think it's such a bummer that you have to go through like 10 hours. Excuse me. Like it's giving me indigestion thinking about it. You have to go through 10 hours of crappy writing, of characters like having moments of screen time, of, you know, just stuff that's not good, to get to this one ending that's pretty good.
I also had this favorite part of the epilogue, because, like I said earlier, you know, the characters were the most important thing. Their maturity was the most important thing to me, and I really enjoyed the 2 D&D scenes. The one with the core kids that we've known since day one, and the way that Mike tells us the story. I also believe that Elle survives, so it gave me it left me with a feeling of hope. And then also the scene after that where the younger kids are all coming down to the basement to play D&D, and you see Mike's face just looking at them like, you know, like they're passing it along to the next generation. It was just really, really cool. So I enjoyed everything about the way that they wrapped up the main character's friendship, with a few nitpicks like I talked about earlier. But overall, they're all still friends. Strong friendships left you with a really good feeling.
The Duffer Brothers headstones have to say off screen. We drink your cinema. We drink your demigorgons. Goodbye, everyone.